And yeah, and then we'll have a few invites as well. And from the 28th of November and onwards, we're going to be having the WardiTV Weekly Season 3 Finals played out for you guys, which should be absolutely fantastic. Basically, lots of action coming up at the WardiTV Weekly. We'll be returning in 2018 as well. We'll be returning in 2018 with even more StarCraft 2, more WardiTV Weekly. Might even get a few more of them out there on the in the world of StarCraft. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, hopefully you guys are excited for all that. Well, let's introduce some players, shall we? God damn it. Port! Why does it keep doing this? It still does this. It's okay. It's okay. Fixed it. Hashtag day saved. Alright guys, you can vote for the players. Bottom right hand side of the map is JJAKJI from Team Revolution, the blue Terran. Hashtag JJAKJI in the chat to vote JJAKJI. Hashtag Nerchio in the chat to vote our Red Zerg player from Euronext Gaming, Nerchio. And the upper left hand side, game 1 of this best of 3 TVZ semi-final. Winner plays Impact in the finals best of 5. Let's hear who you guys want to see winning this one. If you guys are enjoying the stream as well, as this Rupert picks up a couple of Zergling kills off the pool first. Do not forget you can support the stream as well. Hit that follow button to see when we're here in the future. The more you watch, the more I can spam ads into your face, and the more dirty esports money I make from it. Also known as the more I can actually stream and bring you guys more wholesome StarCraft content. The more you guys get to catch it as well, obviously. Outside of that, if you're enjoying the stream, do not forget you can support the channel. You can subscribe. Subscribers are a big reason we're able to run the WardiTV Weekly Series. Without all of our subscribers, we would not be able to run the WardiTV Weekly Series as we do. So thank you to all you guys who are subscribing. You're literally saving esports. On top of that, you can support the channel by donating and cheering. And of course, if you've got Twitch Prime, don't forget you can give that sub button a little click. It'll say subscribe for free with Twitch Prime if you haven't used it up this month already. We'd be so happy to have you on board as a Wardy subscriber for the month of your Twitch Prime. We make a good home for it, I promise. We'll give it food and water. You know, we'll feed it 3 times a day. We'll give it, a soft bed to sleep on at night, nice little cozy blanket. The Twitch Prime will be loved to you. You can even gift subs now. You feeling friendly? You're already a sub, but you want to sub again? Sub by literally taking over someone. It's insane. You can literally become someone. Well, I don't know how it works, but in those like animes and shit, or like even movies where someone like the bad guy is like an evil spirit, and they have to infest somebody's body, or use somebody's body as a vessel for their being. That could be you. You just give someone a sub, and it's like, wahaha! I am a secondary subscriber through this guy. It's insane. That's how I imagine it works, anyways. Enough selling out, though. As we do have JJAKJI. His Widowmine drop coming in towards the upper left hand side. Let's see what he can do. Thank you, Jim Sock, for the cheer 7, saying Terran, you can do it. Not even just cheering on JJAKJI, just cheering on Terran in general. Giving all Terran players out there a little bit of hope. Widowmine will go off. Nice connection onto the 4 Zerglings. Stimpack behind us, by the way. Gotta say, I'm a little bit surprised, because I've been saying mech is the way in TVZ. All of these Korean Terran players have been playing bio still that we've seen so far, so very interesting. Up until this point, we're going to see a few Hellions coming forwards. Hellbats behind this? Nope, just the Hellions. Medivac unloads in the center of the map. Obviously doesn't want to go too far forwards. It's very vulnerable with that low HP, as we will see. Dead Creep Tumor here, and he will die for a couple of drones on the mineral line. Not really worth going too much further, though. He doesn't know what's waiting, and he doesn't want to run into just losing all of his workers, or all of his Hellions so quickly for no real reason. If he runs into a Ling surround or so, he'd rather have that map control and try and slow down creep spread a little bit further whenever possible. Bayoness finishes for JJAKJI, allows him to go in towards a little bit of a safer setup at this stage of the game. He also does not have a lair just yet, actually, so no Bane speed for now. Just starting up that +1 Carapace upgrade. Couple engineering base continue to come up here as well now from JJAKJI. Some extra barracks coming down. It's 5 racks in total. He's already got the 3rd CC building, so it's pretty standard overall. If you're kind of new to StarCraft 2, anyone here new to StarCraft 2, by the way, that's joined through free-to-play or gotten back into the game because of free-to-play? Any of you free-to-players in the chat right now? Come say hello. But yeah, if you're kind of new to StarCraft, this is a very standard way of Terran setting up in TVZ. The 3 command centers and then to 5 racks. It's kind of very with the factory and starport. So nowadays you generally go the 1-1-1 setup, and then you either go, you go 1-1-1 off of 2 base, like a Reaper expand or so. And so you have the 1-1-1 means barracks, factory, and starport. And then from there you either go 3rd CC or 2nd and 3rd racks. And then after you've done one of those choices, you make the other choice, and then you go 4th and 5th racks. It's just the way it kind of works out. It actually works out that way in a lot of the Terran matchups. You go 1-1-1, barracks, factory, starport, 3 racks, 5 racks, and at some point you throw down the 3rd CC. You can actually do the 3rd CC at any point, off of 1 racks, off of 3 racks, off of 5 racks. The later you get it, the more aggressive you're going to be, the more necessary it is for you to actually deal damage. But of course, the more units you'll have to do damage with. Obviously, it's a bit more complex than that. You've got to decide when to get upgrades too, but it's a very good idea of where you want to be doing as a Terran player. In most of the matchups, 1-1-1, 3 racks, 5 racks. And depending on the game, depending on how you feel, and depending on what you want to try and do, throw that 3rd CC down when you feel comfortable. I'd say the 3 racks, 3 CC is a very standard, sort of in the middle of the road way to do it. It's a bit more standard versus Protoss to go 3 racks 3rd. TVZ kind of 5 racks 3rd is a bit more all in, a lot of heavy pressure. 1 racks 3rd is probably most common in TVZ because you can get away with the later racks. And TVT as well, it's actually quite common to go 1-1-1 3 CC. Anyways, enough of me blabbering on about that. Spent a little longer talking about it than I should have done, as we do see units are moving out, but a big link counterattack will be not necessarily deflected right now. There's siege tank and sieges, and well, it goes down anyways. Bunker is here, but there's not really much of anything in it. I love this, by the way. What he's just done is build these depots to stop the Lings escaping to the left-hand side. As you're going to see, those Marines and Hellions are going to pick off a lot of those Zerglings. Only 6 SCVs lost. I actually kind of like this for JJAKJI. Nerchio loses a lot of Zerglings there in the process. So, yeah, very interesting indeed. I got back into it, says Mecha fan, but been watching most of the tournaments. Broken Toy getting back into it as well. Just got back with free to play for the win, says Tough James. Cool stuff, guys. As we're going to see Lings try and push forwards again here. Nerchio not having enough. Pushed away pretty quickly by these Marines. Marines going to push forwards here from JJAKJI. As you're going to see these Lings going forwards from Nerchio. Going to be pushing on the left-hand side. JJAKJI lifts up and pulls away. JJAKJI's still just moving around, and we're just going to be seeing the just pushing over to the right-hand side. A few more Banes coming up this time. So compared to what we saw earlier, we saw Ling Bane muted when we saw kind of a longer TVC between Lysira and Keen. This time we're seeing Ling Bane Hydra from Nerchio, which allows him to go into this hive nice and quickly. The Hydras are a very solid kind of fighting force on the ground, and they're much harder to push into than Ling Bane muted. As we're going to see JJAKJI here doesn't actually have combat shields on the Marines. That's going to be a big loss for him, or something that really, not a loss, but it lacks, and it means that he will lose out quite heavily in the fight. If he had 30 Marines there, he's missing 300 health in his army because of the fact that he's, he's in that sort of weird position. As we're going to see Hydras pushing forwards, and we are going to see Marines getting pushed away. And just going to be seeing those Banes rolling on over to the left-hand side. I'm going to try and hit some of these SCVs. The bunker is doing a very good job of defending, but the SCV is very clumped at the end, but somehow there isn't follow-up Banes to connect. And meanwhile, a set of Marines and the Liberator, 15, 20 kills actually. 14 on the Liberator, 6 from the Marines. Suddenly Nerchio loses 20 drones when he was the one that should have been cleaning out an entire mineral line. Quick question in the chat, what if you want to go mech? And I'm assuming that's just in reference to kind of the production setup. It's actually surprisingly similar, where you basically go 1-1-1 to begin, barracks, factory, starport, you do some sort of 1-1-1 opener. And then you try to generally go, so in mech I would generally say, because you're going to be focused on like tanks and defensive units a lot more, I generally say you go up to the 3cc on the 111 and then you go into the extra factories, but it can work in a similar way. You would never go 5 factory into 3rd CC though, because you don't need the 4th and 5th factory as early as you need a 4th and 5th barracks to so gas heavy. You need a 3rd base basically to afford it, unless you go in like Mass Hellion. So it's generally kind of like either off of 1 or 3 factories you go 3rd CC, and from there you go into 5 factories as well. 2nd starport later on into 7 factories on 4 bases. Hopefully that's a nice quick answer to your question. We do have a lot of action in this game though. As we do see, Ling is going to grab a bunch of those Marines. They're going to be going down. The Hydras here pushing over to the left-hand side. Just going to help to push Marines, medevacs back. Nerchio defending but taking damage in the process. It's not perfect defense. He's not kind of deflecting before any damage is dealt. He's just about hanging on here a couple of times. 5th base taken in the center of the map. Interesting 5th and 4th base locations here. This map works very interestingly in that way, that after the 4 bases, which are fairly safe and linear up top, suddenly you're expanding right into the center of the map. Very interesting indeed, as 5 libs on the way at a time now from JJAKJI, preparing for the Hive tech transition. The Hive, the tier 3 tech from the Zerg, allows them to throw down the Ultralisk Cavern, and it's one of the main kind of indicators that late game is beginning. I'd say that the Ultralisk Cavern finishing is kind of the start of the late game for a Zerg player, able to get into that slightly stronger army, that tier 3 army, that will trade so much better against the Bayou of the Terran and force the Terran into a different set of units, such as those Liberators in the sky. Sub JST Link coming in with the 6-month free sub, half a year. Thank you so much for the half a year of love. Enjoy your brand new sub badge. He says, oh boy, hooray, huzzah, bingo, and excitement, all in one sentence. So many exclamation marks. Thank you, JST Link, for your 6 months. Get some Woody Hearts in the chat for that one. As Nerchio picks off a medevac to the left-hand side. Ling is in the center. They get cleaned up pretty quickly. Marines just seeing what else they can do, poking around. This army to the left-hand side from JJAKJI continue to pull down the left, pulling in towards the 3rd base again in the next couple of moments. Ultralisk, a few more Lings moving around right now. Adrenal glands about halfway done, and the Spire just starting off as well. Again, we talked about this in the earlier stages of the game. The late game starts now, and this is sort of the early stages of the late game if you split it up a little bit, where the Ultras are out, and it's still kind of a lot of Lingbane Hydra with some Ultra support. From there, the Ultra count grows, and you add in Corruptors to help fight against the Liberators, and that's sort of the mid-late game for the Zerg. The eventual overall end game would be Infested Broodlord sort of stage set up with, you know, a couple of Vipers mixed in, Ultras still on the ground too. Obviously, Nerchio not there just yet. Now, one of the nice things about playing Hydras is they can help against the Liberators quite a lot here. As you're going to see the Banes coming from the north, south side, pushing north, means they're suddenly pushing on to creep. Suddenly caught a lot of that Bayou off guard, and now those Liberators, well, they're very exposed, you know. The Hydras are coming in from behind, so they're not sieged up in the right location any longer. And I guess these Ultras keep on pushing forwards, Libs unsieged again, and, well, not many Hydras, but enough to kind of kill off a couple of unsieged Liberators, that's for sure. I see another couple of Ultras coming through the center of the map. Might be worth picking off some of these missile turrets, etc. There's Nerchio pushing forwards. Now, these Libs sieging up. Now there's a little bit too much there for the Hydras to really deal with. But Lings peel away to the 3rd base, picking off a lot of SCVs. Meanwhile, though, again, Liberator damage is insane. Every time Liberators go across the map, they're not just picking up like 5 or 6 workers. They're picking up 10, 11, 12 workers. Really insane amounts of damage being done as we're going to be seeing these Ultras jumping on top of this Planetary Fortress and taking that down very quickly. Planetary Fortress falls. 37 SCVs lost to the 27 drones. These guys really throwing everything at each other. And the counterattacks of Liberators by JJAKJI is the one thing keeping them in this game. You imagine you didn't have these. This is so funny. These workers are going to the right side. These workers are going back to the left. Wake it transfer. Yeah, I mean, these guys throwing everything at each other. If JJAKJI didn't have these couple of Liberators on the other side of the map dealing damage to Nerchio's mineral line, well, imagine it. Nerchio would be on 70, 80 workers unharassed right now. He would have so many units already in play, and if we actually just look at the income tab here, sorry, that's the army size. If we look at the income tab, you'll see JJAKJI's been taking leads when those Liberators force units away, even though generally Nerchio should have the overall advantage when everything is mining properly. And so that's one of the big things right now, that JJAKJI is finding ways to force Nerchio away from having a solid, safe economy. And that's the one reason Nerchio is not just completely rolling in this game right now as 8 more workers go down. These Liberators are just doing so much damage time and time again. And this Liberator, it's another 10 kills. That's absolutely insane. Liberator going to set up behind now and might even get a couple more workers still. Nerchio, his army not really good enough to fight Liberators, etc. just yet, man. You know, he built that Spire and obviously he's not had the money to really utilize it. Is he even still alive? It is. But he's not really had the money to utilize it, but if he did, a few Corruptors would just help him. Obviously in the fights against the Liberators, but also so much in terms of just cleaning up these Corruptors every now and then, a little bit here and there. It would go a long, long way to helping out. Bio continues to gather up in towards the center of the map. A couple more depots coming down now in the middle. Sensor tower is set up here as well. Missile turret from JJAKJI. Another bunker too. Holding this forward base important for him now. It's no longer a planetary fortress. That got killed off previously in those previous engagements which we saw. And so he's had to lift up his main base and reposition it in the center here to be able to get another base going nice and quickly. It's one of the big advantages of playing Terran, being able to relocate your bases like this. As you're going to see Ultras, Hydras starting to push forwards. The Liberator's doing quite a bit of damage, pushing back those Ultras and Hydras relatively easily. Again, right now, Nerchio's army is not brilliant. It's not like, oh my god, Nerchio's winning this game if you just look at his army. What makes you think Nerchio's winning this game is the fact that he's on multiple bases, 66 workers against 30 SCVs. Given a few minutes, Nerchio will be in a grand position. But he does need a couple minutes for that economy to kick in once again. And until then, move around the map, you know, harass, poke, prod. But don't take a straight up fight, because you're fighting with similar upgrades, you're fighting with similar army supplies. There's just no reason to take this engagement just now. Just wait a bit, let your economy advantage sink in. You know, he's a Terran player who's mined out his natural at this point, hasn't relocated it. Like, you know, this space is fine. As long as he doesn't take this space or this space, you should be feeling pretty good about yourself as Nerchio. He lost this hatchery earlier on as well, but he has retaken a base to the left side. He does have the top right as well. So again, he's ahead of base, which for now is fine. If he isn't going to be taking inefficient trades, being ahead one base is all he needs in this game. Resources lost, you can see 25k apiece. So one base extra economy is more than enough for Nerchio. And again, sitting back and maxing out before he takes a fight. Even less bank build up a little bit. It's the sort of thing, you know, the longer he waits, the more he benefits, right? And sure, the Terran player's army is getting better, but also the more Nerchio waits, the more he should realistically be able to afford a better army himself, in the sense that he doesn't have to build more Ultras right now, and this is exactly what I was just about to get to. He could start adding in Corruptors, and it's exactly what he's starting to do now. 4 Corruptors on the way up, and that's what Nerchio just needs to have, a real sustainable way of fighting this Terran army, because the Hydras just don't cut it. They don't have missile upgrades. Okay, they benefit from the Carapace, but against Liberators who hit so hard, the Carapace doesn't make the biggest of differences. It's about the Corruptors to fight these Liberators, and that's what's really the one thing that's missing right now from Nerchio, but which is coming into play very soon. I like this, you know, taking a fight, a skirmish at the front on creep before the Liberator siege up, not letting your Ultras get into a dangerous position. That's fine, push the Terran player back. I don't mind little skirmishes like this, as we just see Nerchio creep so far down the right side. He's even going to take the bottom right hand side base for himself. Not a bad idea if JJAKJI doesn't see it. I mean, it might be something he just doesn't clean up. It could be a good way for Nerchio to grab some eco. Grab another base. Here we go. Nerchio going to come from 2 angles. He's got a single infest on the ground. I guess to the top side is not so bad because the libs are all focused kind of in a forward position. Nice fungal growth comes down on a lot of the bio now. A couple of Ultras from the north are going to be able to connect quite nicely. Not a lot of Corruptors, so the Liberators go down very slowly indeed. They are armored. So many of these Ultras bottom left just having to wait for these Liberators to be cleaned up so that these zones are gone so he can actually do damage. But again, he is kind of okay attacking from the north because the Liberators were focused up on this high ground. So he was able to engage up here, hit the mineral line, do some damage, and initiate a good enough fight to push on from there. GG's. Chat favorite, 57 to 43. Day more or less. As long as there's something to cast and as long as I'm at home. And just before we kick off this game, Taco Stuff coming in with a 3-month free sub. Thank you very much, Taco Stuff. How are you doing today? And thank you so much for your 3 months of love as well. Guys, the Match Arena page is still active. We have used up the coupon codes, but if you want to support further, it does go towards the players, impact, and the winner of this series. We'll have a split of the donations made on the Match Arena page today. Appreciate any support you guys can give to it. Bottom left from Team Revolution, our blue Terran player. Give it up for JJAKJI. Top right hand side, the red Zerg is Nerchio. Guys, we're only 2 subscribers away from 200 as well, which is just fantastic. Again, I couldn't believe it. I've told this story a couple of times already today, but came back from a couple of weeks away due to Community Summit, BlizzCon, and then Home Story Cup back to back. And the fact that we'd only lost like 30 subs and dropped down to like 200 is insane. And it was really kind of insane. So thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate the love and the continued support, even when we're away for a couple of weeks here and there for different events. It's awesome. I mean, the higher the consistent sub count stays at, the more sustainable it is, the more we can just throw our time into StarCraft. It's crazy. 2 subs from 200. Let's see if we can hit that today, guys. You got that Twitch Prime? Hit us up. You're feeling like you're enjoying the channel? Hit us up. You feeling kind? You're already a sub? Test out the brand new Twitch sub gifting options. It's so simple. I think you can literally click on someone's username, click gift sub, and then it'll take you to the page. You click pay, boom. You can sub for someone. Mental. It's pretty cool. Apart from, I wonder if Twitch will do anything about it. Being like the fact that people can subscribe you to other people's channels. So I don't really want to, I don't necessarily need to be subscribed to certain people's channels. Like, I don't need to see that emote showing up. I wonder if Twitch will do something about that. I don't really mind, but like, I mean, I guess it'll die down as well over time, but it was kind of funny to see, there's been like a couple jokes, but I could imagine it might get, I don't know, I guess not really annoying. I don't know. It's interesting though. It's interesting. What button rotates the camera like that? Insert and delete on a normal keyboard with normal hotkeys, if I'm not mistaken. To turn it like this and this. Press Z to zoom out, Shift Z to zoom out even further. You can press backspace to jump between bases. It's actually very useful when you're doing an early intros. You can be like, it's Nerchio! And then if you press backspace, the only other base on the map is the Terran's main. And you're like, it's JJAKJI. That's how you can get from main base to main base so easily. I was like, observer. Well, introducing players. Trying to think of more observer hacks, but I'm not a very good observer, so I don't really have many. Control-Shift-F follows a unit. That's pretty good to know. I think Control-F just follows a unit for as long as you hold it, then you can let go and it stops. Control-Shift-F will just let you follow without holding anything down. There's all sorts of observer commands for game hard overlays as well, obviously, to bring up clan tags, put them away. You can get rid of the races, I believe. I thought you could get rid of the races. No, I can't. There I can. Get rid of the races, obviously change score, best of. You can swap players' positions on the bottom. They're all commands in game hard though. They actually explain them in game hard if you ever use the interface. It's a nice one to have. Not as good as the interface for analyzing replays and stuff and like watching your games back. The best replay is the one that the pro players use, but kind of tough to get a hold of. But it's very good because it tells you like literally everything. It's not really pretty for like casting because it's got like a lot of information on, like more than you always need to see. But obviously it's super good for the, it's super good as a player analyzing, because you've got all the information you would ever need to kind of pick up on a situation to figure out this or figure out that. So I pretty much all the players use it. I don't know what's actually called that one, but it's something they do pretty much all use. If you ever see the players kind of playing at like a DreamHack or something, maybe not a DreamHack, but if you ever see like, if you watch like Snoot's stream and he goes into replay, he has this like replay interface. It's pretty sick. You'll see what I mean. Anyways, Hellions morph into Hellbats, Banshee Cloaks to get a couple more shots into the Queens. Banes are morphing in. JJAKJI with, I wouldn't really say enough units here, honestly. Lings are already surrounding, the Hellbat numbers are disappearing, and just needs to get rid of this Banshee, and he's all good. And honestly, the Lings cleaned up the Hellbats on their own, didn't even need the Banelings in the end. As we're going to be seeing the, well, the Spore Crawler just needs to relocate slightly and it'll be fine. Probably if the Spore relocates, then obviously the Banshee relocates as well, so. Nothing killed here, not a single worker. Murine's loss is obviously slightly favouring the Terran player because it's just a bit more expensive. But overall, resources is pretty even. Pretty good for Nerchio, honestly. Holds off very easily. +1 melee, a good way along already. I'm just going to be seeing a couple of queens. Throwing down a couple of creep tumors here. The Spore Crawler going to come forwards. Throw down the Spore at the front. The creep going to continue pushing up and down the map. Yeah, my observing's pretty bad. I'm actually a pretty good observer if I'm actually an observer. So, I guess not many people actually know this, but I used to observe. You guys know the Gfinity events, if you've kind of been a fan of StarCraft for a few years. The Gfinity tournaments in London. I was actually the observer for those events. And back then, people actually quite liked my observing. But it's very different observing and observing being your only job versus observing while solo casting a game and reading chat and all the rest of it. Like when I'm streaming, it's so difficult to focus on observing because, well, I gotta cast, I gotta talk to you guys, talk to entertain, you know, try and entertain, etc. Observing skills drop a lot. It's a lot more to get distracted by. If your job's just to observe, you can do some cool things. You know, you're always watching the minimap. You can do a lot of cool little follows and stuff. You can set it up. You're watching the minimap close enough. So, like, say I'm up here and I see this, like, for example, this moving across here. I can see the Banshees. I'll click on them. And then you start following them once they move into the center of the screen. Looks pretty neat. But yeah, it's tough to do that sort of shit when you're casting. And they also, like, you know, as an observer, it feels like you got so much time to, like, locate, like, where you're gonna send the screen to. When you cast, you're like, whoa, shit, there's something. Whoa, shit, there's the drop. Whoa, quick, let's grab it. Let's box the entire screen to grab the drop. It's not pretty. I'm not gonna pretend it's pretty. Hive on the way up here, guys. Not talking too much about the game. There's not much to say, honestly. Obviously, you can kind of see what's happening. We saw a few Banshees trading around. There's this Bioforce at the bottom right-hand side from JJAKJI as well. And there's Banes and Hydras gathering up towards this top side watchtower, and a 5th base from Nerchio has been taken as well, expanding up the top. He already took his 4th base here, so pretty normal. I mean, the bigger attack is going to start up very shortly here. You can see JJAKJI preparing to move on forwards. Still playing Bio again, seems to be a thing in Korean Terrans. They do not want to play mech, and obviously they feel as though Bio is playable right now in the matchup, even though a lot of the European players are saying that Bio is not very playable, and that mech is very strong in comparison. So very interesting. As we're going to be seeing the few Banes rolling in over here. This drop pretty much shut down. Nerchio gets rid of that one without a problem. He actually takes the initiative over here on the top side at the same time. Lings and Banes pushing these Marines backwards. The tanks have had to lift into the medevac. And honestly, just picking up free damage here, Nerchio, because even when stutter stepping, these Marines don't seem to be doing enough damage. Now, with a few more reinforcements coming through, there will be enough to push those Banes and Hydras away up top. Thank you, Taco Stuff, for the 334 and cheers. Makes 10 total. Hashtag math on stream. I did it. You should get a badge when you can do math on stream correct. It's funny. You know they just released Twitch achievements? So if you guys are a streamer at all, I'm pretty sure you can see them if you're not a streamer. If you go on your like Twitch dashboard and you go into like your streamer section, there's like an achievements tab now basically, and it's pretty cool. And you can get achievements for like, you get 100 viewers, or this many viewers have watched your stream for this many hours, etc. As these Hydras, not quite going to find those medevacs. But, yeah, it's really cool. But I really think they should give you an achievement for successfully doing math on stream. You know? It'd be great. Just create an entire kind of detection system for when a streamer starts doing math on stream, so you can automate detect it. It's like, aha, the streamer's doing math, and it gauges whether you do it correctly. It's like, well done, you've earned the math achievement. Thumbs up. Everyone's really happy. Everyone cheers for you. Round of applause. Woo! Things and Hydras going to push through these rocks here, guys. Still just a couple of drops moving around the map. Wardy, in my opinion, how good is Funker? Funker's amazing at observing. I wasn't trying to say in my last little thing that I'm as good as Funker. If I wasn't observing, I'd be as good as Funker or anything. Honestly, I wasn't. Funker's a really good observer. I'm just saying, my point was it was much easier to observe if you are focusing on observing rather than casting, etc. But yeah, Funker's a very good observer. Spots things, points things out, listens to the casters, points out what they're casting, knows what the casters are probably going to talk about next, so he's ready to jump to it. Impressed by the observer in Home Story Cup? Yeah, Home Story Cup observer was done by Mapu. He's a pretty good observer too, as this little drop gets cleaned out over here. Medevac pulls away as a Liberator flies into the Hydras. Liberators were a big part of the last game for Nerchio, for JJAKJI being able to do damage to Nerchio. This game, Nerchio shutting it down. Look at Nerchio's bank as well, 2k to 1.5k. Has he got a Spire up? He doesn't. He's just not really making more Ultras yet. Well, some units come down to the top side. And he's going to grab the factory pretty quick, as we're going to be seeing some Ultras up top. Ling is going to try and break through this wall. Liberators are not really a great defense against Ling run-bys, obviously, because they do a massive amount of... They fire very slowly and do massive amount of damage, which doesn't really work well against lots of low-health units like Zerglings. Wall goes up on the natural to main base, though, and that does mean the Lings can't go much further. They're going to try and break through, but the repair is good. And so JJAKJI will deny Nerchio from moving further forwards. A few Infestors on the way up now as well. As we're going to see these Ultras continue to set up as well. Still Nerchio, he has just spent his bank now on a couple more Ultras, some Infestors, 11 more Hydras. Spire on the way, so he's getting ready to deal with that kind of Liberator stage of the game. Oh no, these Liberators are going to get hit by Hydras. That's big, loses 2 of them for free, basically. That second one actually gets away. And still not pretty. This Overlord up here going down, that's what that is. If you're looking at the minimap and wondering. I mean, still Nerchio doing some nice down. He leaves a single Hydra to hit the mineral lines. Again, as Libs come in, he doesn't really want to commit to the fight unless he knows he has a way to fight those. No point giving away Ultras for free. Kills the CC on the top side meanwhile, and actually running by, hits a tank and denies some depots from building. Doing a lot of very good damage. As we're going to be seeing 8 SCVs, 5 workers getting killed off. Is that the Liberator? There it is! Liberator, 11 kills. Every time we see Liberators this game by JJAKJI, they're just doing so much damage. It's really kind of insane. One thing I have to say is JJAKJI is not great in his Liberators, though, by the way. No, not even weapons, not even playing. So no weapon upgrades to help out in any way. Which is interesting. And again, the Liberators have been doing enough on their own without those upgrades. This Infestor is going to be able to burrow and get away from the detection before it gets blown up by a siege tank. Ultras pushing forward, another set of depots going down. This base is an orbital, the third, of course, as you would expect it to be. The first 3 bases of Terran generally are orbital commands. You kind of need 3 bases or orbitals for mules and, just for scans as well later on. Also, you can generally defend the 3 bases easy enough, but it does make it a bit more vulnerable to run-bys. And Nerchio in this game, I said JJAKJI there. Nerchio in this game was just a little bit too strong, a little bit too good in the series altogether, and yeah, this game was way more convincing than the first, and again,